Welcome to According to Sam, folks. This is episode 257. Thank you for tuning in. Hope you guys had a good weekend. Happy Monday. We are now 2 weeks away. Tomorrow, 2 weeks from tomorrow is the election, but people are already voting. Early voting starting in many states, and we're going to see where this goes and what happens in 2 weeks. 2 weeks will fly by. I want to get right back into the podcast that I've been doing. I have a little bit more that I want to share with you guys about the financial crisis in 2008. And remember, we've been talking about the Bush-Clinton dynasty, talking about each one of these presidents' roles in the financial crisis. The deregulation happened under Bill Clinton, and then his brother from another mother came in after him and created the housing bubble. After he allowed 9/11 to happen and began to take us to war, after cutting taxes, began the deficit spending, and then created the housing bubble. And his cousin comes in after him, and his cousin, Barack Obama's role was to let these guys off. Nobody goes to jail, nobody is punished, and all these guys are let off during the Obama administration under his Justice Department. After he runs on a campaign in the middle of the crisis. When he's running in the middle of the crisis, he's campaigning that he's going to hold these guys accountable, that he is going to check Wall Street, going to empower Main Street, and that he was rejecting trickle-down economics, and that he was going to build the economy from the bottom up. That was the change that Barack Obama was promising. And the reason that we're talking about this is because we are in another change election in 2024, 16 years after Obama ran on change, and people are still wanting change. People are still voting for change after Americans sent Barack Obama to Washington after him running on this platform of transformative change you can believe in. 16 years later, the country is still seeking change, and we're in another change election, and Kamala Harris is, she's presenting herself as the change candidate, despite the fact that she's the current vice president and that her and Joe Biden have been in the White House, or the Biden administration with her second in command has been in charge for the past 3.5 years. And the Democratic Party has been in charge. If you include Barack Obama, the Democratic Party has been in charge for 12 of the last 16 years. This guy, only 4 years. And Kamala Harris says that she's going to turn the page from your burdens. Your burdens, if you remember the last podcast and what she said in the interview with Brett Baer, that what burdens you are the rhetoric that has been coming from Trump over the last 10 years since he's been running for president. But he had a 4-year administration. These guys with Biden, the Democratic Party, have been in charge of 12 of the last 16 years. And if you include the entire Bush-Clinton dynasty, as I've been telling you, the past 32 of the past 36 years, the Bush-Clinton dynasty has been in charge. And what I've been explaining to you is that Kamala Harris is a continuation of the Bush-Clinton dynasty. She's on the campaign trail with George Bush's vice president's daughter, and George Bush's vice president has endorsed her. Obama's on the campaign trail, trying to get you to vote for her. She's the best thing since sliced bread. Clinton is on the campaign trail. The Bush-Clinton dynasty, they're all campaigning and endorsing her. She is a continuation of them, but she's running on change. What I'm trying to get you to understand is the same change you got from Obama in 2008 after he ran on this transformative change. He was going to empower Main Street over Wall Street. He was going to rebuild the economy from the bottom up. All that stuff, none of that stuff happened. You're going to get the same change from Kamala Harris. That's what we've been talking about. So this election will be my third election supporting Donald Trump. And it's heartwarming to see other Black Americans come to where I was back in 2016, and seeing through all of the nonsense, all of the propaganda. I've always been an early adapter, and I've been following politics, been a lover of history for years, and it was easy for me to see through all of the lies and the propaganda that they told about Trump in 2016, and through his entire administration, and all the lies that they told about him in 2020 when he was running in 2020. And I continue to support him. Not that he's perfect, not that I support everything. He's not perfect at all. He has a lot of faults, as this guy's getting ready to say. But this guy, he sums up what I want, what I'm trying to say here. I just want you to take a listen to Mr. Coleman here.
About how I used to kind of despise Trump, and how I ended up just seeing him for who he is, being just a flawed individual. And part of that had to do with the good people on both sides lie that was perpetuated by the media. For many years, I was a Democrat. I was someone who would watch the mainstream news and felt like I was being informed. But then I became curious about Donald Trump as I was talking to more and more people about him. And that's when I came across the good people on both sides accusation as being an actual lie or misrepresentation of what he stated. And when I watched in full context, where he was basically putting down the neo-Nazis and the white supremacists who showed up with tiki torches, I realized that the media purposefully misframed what he was stating.
Purposely. The media purposely misframed. Do you know how many people who Trump has flipped, who people who say that they used to hate Trump and they believed all the media lies about him, and this is the event, this lie, when they were exposed to how the media had lied to them about what happened in Charlottesville, and the Charlottesville lie that Joe Biden ran on, said that was this is the whole reason that Joe Biden says that he got into the race to run in 2020 is because of this lie that Donald Trump said that the neo-Nazis were fine people. When in actuality, verbatim, what Donald Trump said is that I'm not talking, when he said fine people, I'm not talking about the neo-Nazis because they should be condemned. So many people, once they're exposed to this lie, and they're still using it. I think they used it in a debate, either the debate with Biden or the debate with Kamala Harris. I mean, the media still tells this lie. But do you know how many people have woken up to how the media is lying to them about Donald Trump and misleading them about Donald Trump because of this lie and this event in Charlottesville? So many. Even people like J.D. Vance, who is Donald Trump's vice president, believed that Donald Trump was Hitlerian, and that and all of the things that the media said about him. And he says, I believed all that stuff. And people have called him out on emails and things that he said about Donald Trump in the past. And brilliantly, J.D. Vance owns it. And I mean, it's something that resonates with everyone. Everyone can say when he says, well, I called Trump Hitler because I believe the media lies. And then everyone's like, oh, okay, that makes sense. You can't even refute it because, of course, the media lies. Of course, the media has been framing this guy and demonizing this guy ever since he announced that he was running for president, and misframing things that he said, taking him out of context. And that's what this guy's talking about, and what he realized about Trump and what was happening to him. He used to be a Democrat like me. And now, going to tell you who he's supporting now.
He stated. And when I watched in full context, where he was basically putting down the neo-Nazis and the white supremacists who showed up with tiki torches, I realized that the media purposefully misframed what he was stating. And he was actually relatively clear as far as who he was talking about was good. The people who were protesting for and against the statue being up of Robert E. Lee. And he was even more specific as far as the people who weren't violent, who were protesting on both sides of the matter. So I realized at that moment, if the media can lie to me about this for years upon years, claiming that he said something that he clearly didn't say, and if you just extended that footage about 30 seconds or so, you would see it, then what else are they lying to me about? And that's what led me to
do you hear what this guy is saying? And that is just the logic. I mean, there's canines that have this same reasoning. You don't even have to be a sophisticated, intelligent Homo sapien. There's canines that know that they're not gonna fall for the same trick, and that if someone is dishonest with them once, then what else are they going to be dishonest with me about? That if the media can lie to me about this, then this exposes the whole game, because what else are they lying about? They're lying about so much. Once you those scales fall off of your eyes and you see, wow, that the media, I can't believe that they purposely lied to me about the Charlottesville lie. What else are they lying to me about? That's just logical.
Something that he clearly didn't say. And if you just extended that footage about 30 seconds or so, as far as the people who weren't violent, who were protesting on both sides of the matter. So I realized at that moment, if the media can lie to me about this for years upon years, claiming that he said something that he clearly didn't say, and if you just extended that footage about 30 seconds or so, you would see it, then what else are they lying to me about? And that's what led me to become more independent-minded, eventually leaving the Democratic Party to become an independent, and just asking questions about the media that we consume and bipartisan curiosity. Am I making determinations politically because of how I feel, or is it because of what is true? By how I feel, who is making me feel this way? Is someone...
That's brilliant. I love that he says that. He says that once he started to realize that the media was manipulating him, he started to become more of an independent thinker. And he started to ask the question, am I feeling this way about this candidate and about this person? Am I making a determination about him, about who he really is? Or am I making this determination about how I feel that he is? And if I'm making a determination about this individual based on how I feel that he is and not who he really is, because I haven't taken time to investigate that, because I've been believing what they're saying about him being a bad person and all the demonization that they have been feeding me and the lies. But once I realized that those are lies and these people have been lying to me, so I want to ask myself, do I feel this way about this individual because of who he is, a flawed individual? He admitted he's a flawed individual. We all are. But do I feel this way about him because of who he is, or because of the way I feel? And if it's because of the way I feel, who is making me feel this way about him? Who is responsible for setting the feelings that I have about this individual that they're trying to demonize? This guy is intelligent. This is just rational, intelligent thinking that this guy's making.
Clearly didn't say. And if you just extended that footage about 30 seconds or so, you would see it. Then what else are they lying to me about? And that's what led me to become more independent-minded, eventually leaving the Democratic Party to become an independent, and just asking questions about the media that we consume and bipartisan curiosity. Am I making determinations politically because of how I feel, or is it because of what is true? By how I feel, who is making me feel this way? Is someone propagandizing me, trying to manipulate my emotions into feeling a particular way about someone, regardless if it's someone on the left or right? I became very conscious of my emotions and very conscious of any sort of manipulation attempt to get me to sway in one direction or another for political gain. I also considered, when it comes to Donald Trump, if he is evil, then why lie about him? because someone who's truly evil, you just tell the truth about them. The truth.
I love that
says
part too.
everything.
This guy,
So
there's
is
so
he really
many,
that-
there's so many. And if you notice up here, the reason I saw this on my timeline is because Elon Musk has 200 million followers. But Elon Musk tweeted this out. And this guy makes so many brilliant points. That last point he just made. He says that Donald Trump is so bad. If he's so evil, why do y'all have to lie about him? If he's so bad, if he's so bad and so evil, and he's going to bring in the end of democracy, and the world is going to come to an end. If this guy, if he's the new Hitler, the Fourth Reich, if this guy comes into office, it's over. If that's the truth, if that's true about him, then why do you need to lie about him, is what this guy says. Why do you need to lie about him if what you're saying is true? Brilliant.
If he is evil, then why lie about him? Because someone who's truly evil, you just tell the truth about them. The truth says everything. So is he really that evil? Is he someone that you can disagree with? I have disagreements about him. Is he someone that you have to love? You don't have to love him in order to vote for him. Is he someone that's flawed? Absolutely, he is flawed. But is he evil? Is he the next Hitler? Is he someone who's going to bring the end to democracy as we know it? That's categorically false. I see no evidence for it. And the 4 years that he was in office, I see no evidence for it. So I am very much so a pragmatic voter, someone who is open-minded.
So I'm very much a pragmatic voter. I don't know why it cuts off, but he says that he's going to vote for Trump because of pragmatism, because it's ridiculous, the campaign that Kamala Harris is trying to run, not telling you anything about what she's going to do, just demonizing Donald Trump, refusing to answer any questions. In that interview with Brett Baer, over and over again, he tries to get her to answer the question, what was it? What was the impetus of you guys ending the Remain in Mexico policy that Trump had in place when you came in that was working great? She wouldn't answer. She just said, oh, Trump told members of the Senate to kill the bill in February. Takes no responsibility at all. And this guy says he's voting pragmatic and that you guys are being ridiculous. And then yesterday, on ABC's This Week with Martha, she had the governors of the 3 states that make up the Blue Wall. The Blue Wall. And those states are Michigan, Wisconsin, and Pennsylvania. So she had these governors on interviewing them, and she asked them a very poignant question I wanted to focus on here. Take a listen.
When you think about Donald Trump and his appeal to all of your voters in your states, to half of the voters in the states, what do you think the appeal is of Donald Trump? What do you think they like about him?
I think there's a lot of folks who are frustrated that they don't see government solving problems in their communities.
What happened? What happened? People don't see government solving problems in their community. Obama ran on the change 16 years ago. Thought he was going to bring the change. Joe Biden's been in office for 3.5 years with Kamala Harris as his vice president. Why don't people see government solving problems for them?
They like about him.
I think there's a lot of folks who are frustrated that they don't see government solving problems in their communities. I think what people are craving are leaders who know how to get stuff done for them. It's about ordinary Americans just trying to get through their day and wanting to know that folks in government are looking out for them. Donald Trump talks a good game about that. Now, he has a history of failing to deliver over and over and over again. And I think part of our responsibility here is to make sure we're letting folks know that despite the noise, despite the bluster, despite the words that come out of his mouth, they're not only empty promises now. As Gretchen says, we got the receipts to prove that when he had the keys to the White House before, he failed the American people time and time again.
But to that point.
Again. So, yeah, so listen to what Hebrew Obama is saying. Hebrew Obama is saying that Donald Trump, when he was president the first time, that he failed Americans. And then Martha's going to say, well, to that point, if he was a failure the first time that he was president, what's the appeal? Why is it neck and neck in each of your states?
Despite the words that come out of his mouth, they're not only empty promises now. As Gretchen says, we got the receipts to prove that when he had the keys to the White House before, he failed the American people time and time again.
But to that point, again, back to those polls, the economy, immigration, by far, those people who are polled trust Donald Trump. So what you're saying about, look, he didn't do the job back then, they don't think that.
Nope, they don't think that.
He can do it now better than Kamala Harris.
So what's the appeal?
This message is getting through on immigration and on the economy. Yours is not. Governor Whitmer.
He's a charlatan. He's convinced people that he is strong when he's actually very weak. He told Michiganders he wouldn't let a single auto
listen to what
this
woman is saying. That all of this witch. Listen to what she's saying. That all of the Trump supporters, 50% of the country, are just dumb. Just dumb. This guy right here. We just listen to this guy. This guy's not smart. He's believing a charlatan. He bought into the con of a charlatan. And we've all been there before. I've bought into the con of a charlatan before. A lot of us has bought into cons of a charlatan before. But that's what Gretchen Whitmer's narrative is of the appeal of Donald Trump, is that he's a con artist. He is a charlatan. Not Obama. Obama's not a charlatan. Kamala Harris, she's not a charlatan. It's Donald Trump. He's the charlatan, and half of the country is just gullible and dumb, and that's the appeal of Donald Trump.
Very weak. He told Michiganders he wouldn't let a single auto plant close under his watch. 6 close. We lost 280,000 jobs in Michigan. He just came into Detroit and denigrated the city of Detroit, shows his ignorance. He doesn't appreciate what the Renaissance actually is in the city of Detroit.
Well, why do you need it? Tell me this, Gretchen. Why does Detroit need a Renaissance? What happened to Detroit? Michael Moore made a movie about what happened to Detroit. If you guys have never seen it, it's called Roger and Me. I challenge you to go watch the movie Roger and Me, and look at how Michael Moore paints what happened to Detroit. Detroit used to be a mecca of the United States. It used to be one of the most thriving metropolitan cities in the United States. Detroit, before NAFTA, before they offshored all the jobs, which Joe Biden voted for, which Clinton supported. All of that hollowing out of the Midwest through globalism, all the stuff that Donald Trump is running on and has been running against since 2016. That's what happened to Detroit. That's what he's talking about. Go look at Roger and Me. Go look at Michael Moore's movie, and you'll see why Detroit even needs a renaissance, if the renaissance is even happening. And there's a lot of debate that the renaissance is really only happening in the downtown areas, in the urban areas, in the suburbs. There's no renaissance at all.
We lost 280,000 jobs in Michigan. He just came into Detroit and denigrated the city of Detroit, shows his ignorance. He doesn't appreciate what the Renaissance actually is in the city of Detroit. He denigrated auto workers, saying children could do their jobs.
That's a lie.
He likes to pretend he's tough.
That's a lie. That's not what Trump said. Trump didn't say that children can do auto workers' job. What Trump said is that he's going to put tariffs. He's going to put, this is what Trump said. And see, and goes back to what this guy says, that if they'll lie to you about Charlottesville and that Trump said neo-Nazis are good people, what won't they lie to you about? And they're lying to you so much and taking things out of context and just straight up lying to you. That is their only play. They can't sell Kamala Harris, so they have to lie to you and demonize Donald Trump, make you afraid of Donald Trump. So you're not voting for Kamala Harris, you're voting against Donald Trump. But she's a liar here. Donald Trump never said that a child can do the job of auto workers. Donald Trump says he's going to put tariffs on foreign-made cars. And then he used, I think it was Mercedes-Benz as an example. He says that they have plants here in the United States, but they basically build the entire car overseas and then just sends the kit to the United States, and the United States factory just, puts on the final pieces of the car. They don't actually build the car. They just put on the final pieces. And Donald Trump says a child can do that. A child can just put the tires on or just put the finishing touches on the car after it's been completely built overseas. That's what Donald Trump actually says. Donald Trump was saying that, no, we want to build the entire car here in the United States. And she takes that and she tells a lie about it and says that Donald Trump says that a child can do an automaker's job. This is just an example. And people see through this. People are starting to see through this now with clear eyes. I've been here since 2016. It took some of you a little bit longer to get here, but welcome to the party. Welcome. I'm glad you finally see through all of this stuff. And a lot of people are seeing through this stuff, and that's why it's not working. And that's the appeal of Donald Trump. And that's why this is such a close race, is because people see through this stuff.
What the Renaissance actually is in the city of Detroit. He denigrated auto workers, saying children could do their jobs. He likes to pretend he's tough, but in the reality, he's weak.
Again, people are still supporting Donald Trump despite what you're saying. His message is getting through.
Donald Trump has done nothing for the state of Wisconsin. And, we have the best economy we've ever had, the largest budget.
The largest budget?
We've ever had.
This is what he says. We have the best economy we've ever had, the largest budget.
And, we have the best economy we've ever had, the largest budget work that we've ever had. And we're in a good shape. And people are...
No, we're not in good shape. We're not in good shape, buddy. 7 in 10 Americans believe the country is on the wrong track. I don't know how. I haven't been to Wisconsin, so I don't know. Maybe Wisconsin is some utopian gym throughout the United States that's not happening throughout all of the United States. It's only happening in Wisconsin. But 7 in 10 Americans believe that the country is on the wrong track.
And we're in a good shape. And people are making more money than they ever made. So we're in a good place, and it had nothing to do with Donald Trump.
Let's go back to the economy. You say we're in good shape. People I talk to in this state, in your state, don't seem to be feeling that. Yes, things have improved. Look at the inflation. Grocery prices are the thing they always talk about. So Donald Trump's message is getting through. Kamala Harris's message, since she is tied in with the Biden administration, even if things are improving, they're still blaming her for that.
Look, Martha, respectfully, I don't hear that when I'm out and about. I do understand.
Listen to these guys. These guys are clueless. Listen to Hebrew Obama. She's telling him, look, we're polling these people. Everybody's saying that, look, that the economy is not good. We're not doing well right now, despite the fact that you're telling us that inflation is going down and the stock market is breaking records and all that stuff. People are saying that they're not feeling that. And then one after another, this guy first says that, no, things are going great. And then Shapiro, yeah, no, I'm not seeing that on the ground. I'm not hearing people say that things are bad.
I talk to in this state, in your state, don't seem to be feeling that. Yes, things have improved. Look at the inflation. Grocery prices are the thing they always talk about. So Donald Trump's message is getting through. Kamala Harris's message, since she is tied in with the Biden administration, Even if things are improving, they're still blaming her for that.
Look, Martha, respectfully, I don't hear that when I'm out and about. I do understand that Pennsylvanians and others across this country continue to struggle with the cost of things. By the way, it's one of the reasons why here in Pennsylvania, on a bipartisan basis, we've cut taxes 4 different times for small businesses, for families, for seniors, to put more money back.
All right, so then, and I'm really surprised at Martha to continue to press them the way that they did, but they don't answer the question at all. And quite frankly, I don't think that they really understand what the appeal is to Donald Trump. They continue to tell lies, and half of the country seems to believe it, but I don't think they really understand the appeal to Donald Trump. But this is Van Jones, and this is Van Jones of CNN. And a program that he had on CNN that I think they got rid of this program, but he had it on CNN for, a few months, maybe a year after the 2016 election when Donald Trump beat Hillary Clinton. And this was a family in Ohio. And Ohio is a state in that Rust Belt. It used to be a swing state. It's not a swing state anymore, which is something I was asking myself just yesterday. I don't understand what's going on in Ohio, why Ohio is so solidly red. And then you have these other Rust Belt states like Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, and Michigan that still continue to be swing states. But back in 2016, I do believe Ohio was still a swing state. Obama won Ohio in 2008, 2012, and then Trump won Ohio in 2016. But this is a segment on Van Jones' show back then where he goes to talk to a family in Ohio that voted for Obama twice, but then voted for Trump in 2016. I want you to take a listen to this segment.
2-time Obama voters who switched in 2016 to vote for Donald Trump. Trumbull County. Farmland and factories dominate the landscape, and Union Democrats dominate local politics. But the last 4 years, especially Obama's second term, industry has been hit hard. Many steel mills, manufacturing plants have been closed, and thousands of jobs have been lost. This year, all 4 Sitesmen voted for Trump. What did you like about it?
So I just want to say, so this is 8 years after Obama runs on transformative change. And this family voted for Barack Obama when he ran for transformative change in 2008.
This year, all 4 Sitesmen voted for Trump. What did you like about Obama? And then what did you like about Trump?
I think Obama represents a lot of love, and I think that he's a good man, and he did all he could. And
BS.
We supported him for 2 elections.
Yeah.
And then when those changes really didn't come about, and Obamacare actually affected me personally with my own mother, I think we needed a change once again.
You know,
When the change didn't come, then I thought that we needed change once again. Basically what this guy just said is that I voted for change. I believed Obama when he said in 2008 that he was going to run on change. When he said that he was going to tackle Wall Street, to rein in Wall Street, to hold Wall Street accountable for the financial crisis that we found ourselves in the middle of that campaign, that he was going to reject trickle-down economics and rebuild the economy from the bottom up, from Main Street to Wall Street, that he was going to bring in regulatory reforms to rein in Wall Street, that he was going to end the wars, bring the troops home, all that stuff that Obama said that he was going to change when he ran in 2008. I went out and I voted for that. Actually voted for it twice, is what this guy says. Like I was telling you guys a couple podcasts ago, it took some people a little bit longer. Didn't take me twice. Didn't take me that long, but it took some people a little bit longer. And this family says we did it twice. We went out and voted for that change twice. But when those changes didn't come, we voted for change again in 2016 when Donald Trump came on the scene, also running on change. And we voted for change again. And this time we voted for a different candidate because we didn't get the change. All that change that Obama said that he was going to bring. We didn't get that.
And then when those changes really didn't come about and Obamacare actually affected me personally with my own mother, I think we needed a change once again.
You know, I went vote for either one.
You voted for a Democrat all the way down, but could not vote for Hillary Clinton.
No. Her morals and his morals, no. They both scared me.
Let me give you guys a chance to respond to some of the stereotypes about all the Trump voters. All the Trump voters hate the Mexicans. They hate Muslims. They don't.
So
like
where do these stereotypes come from that Van Jones is talking? Let me give you all the stereotypes that we paint of Donald Trump in the media. The stereotypes that let me give you all the stereotypes that we continue to give you. We're giving you the stereotypes. We're giving you the ideas of how to think of this individual. So let me give them to you again, is what Van Jones does here.
They hate Muslims. They don't like black people. They're just, all of his explosive kind of racial talk was what really got everybody going.
One of my jobs is helping counseling individuals recovering from drug and alcohol addictions. And I'm just going by the statistics at my location. Most of them are minorities. I would probably go as far as to say 85%. So, if that were the case, and if I was racist, then I just don't believe it.
Shame on you, Van Jones. Shame on you. These guys shouldn't have to defend themselves against being racist just because they're voting for the candidate that they want to vote for. But this is what the media has done. This is what the media has been doing because they don't have any way to fight against Donald Trump and his populist agenda. So all they do is demonize him and call him racist. And Van Jones is sitting here in these people's living room calling them racist because they support Donald Trump. And they're sitting here having to defend themselves. I would have kicked Van Jones out on his butt. Told him, how dare you? How dare you come into my kitchen and call me a racist because I voted for Barack Obama twice and didn't get anything from that half black president. I didn't get anything from him when I voted for change twice. How dare you come in here and call me a racist? I'll put this in the show notes. You have to watch this whole video if you haven't seen Van Jones interview this family. And it's so funny too, if you listen to what Van Jones is saying today, he knows why these people are supporting Trump. He knows what's going on and why people feel that they didn't get the change that Obama promised and what the appeal of Trump is. He knows. He interviewed these people and talked to them for a long time. And they told him, and he interviewed a lot of other people who told him the same thing during this time. And if you listen to what this guy says today, he is such an opportunist. I have another clip with Van Jones on the Late Show with Seth Meyers, and they're talking about this family and this segment that Van Jones did on this show, on the Seth Meyers Show with Van Jones as a guest. I want you to listen to this.
I want to commend you on this special because I think it's providing a great service because you basically are going out, you're talking to voters about why they voted.
Yep.
And some of them voted for Hillary, some of them voted for Donald Trump. And I think it speaks to the title, The Messy Truth. I feel like now a lot of punditry is saying, he won because of this, she won because of that. But you kind of find out that people have there's a lot of reasons people made their decision.
You know, when you get out there and you talk to people, it's just amazing. I got a chance to go to Ohio, and I talked to two-time Obama voters who voted for Trump. And I said, well, why? How? I'm confused,
Yeah.
And they said, well, we voted for change, and then we voted for change again. And I said, that's not what we meant in 2008. That wasn't, we didn't mean it.
Listen what he says. That's not what we meant. What do you mean that's not what you meant? Van Jones, what do you mean that's not what you meant? Is that what Kamala Harris means? When she says that she's going to be the change agent and she's going to bring change, what does she mean? If that's not what you guys meant. These people are clowns, people. They're clowns. And that's what this election is really about is this isn't about Democrats or Republicans or conservatives or liberals or red or blue or black or white. It's not even about good versus evil, which I've heard a lot of people put this election in those terms. This election is simply about the two different camps are the people that still believe these liars and tune in and watch these liars, people like Van Jones, channels like CNN, MSNBC, Fox News, CBS, all of the mainstream media, CNN, the factions in this election are the people who still believe those liars on TV and still believe the mainstream media, and the people who have no respect for them and see them as the enemy within. The enemy within. And if you understand what happened to our media and who did this to our media, who's responsible, William Jefferson Clinton is the one who signed the Telecommunications Act that deregulated the media along with deregulating Wall Street. This guy, William Jefferson Clinton, is the one who destroyed our media and basically ruined it. And it's not trustworthy. Our media is nothing but state, Pravda, establishment media. That's all it is. It's not to be trusted. It is only propaganda. And the people who still trust these guys and the people who believe these guys and still think that the media is practicing journalism and that the media is objective and the media is giving you good, real, useful information. And the people who don't trust these guys, those are the two factions. That's what this election is about. So we've been talking again about the financial crisis that these guys set up during the Clinton administration. And these gentlemen are, again, Alan Greenspan, Larry Summers, and Robert Rubin. These are the people who set up the crash, along with Timothy Geithner. Let's not forget Timothy Geithner. We don't want to forget him. Timothy Geithner was there. And all of these guys set it up in the 1990s under William Jefferson Clinton, under the Clinton administration, set up the crash with all of the deregulation. And then after Obama runs on this platform of transformative change, he brings in Larry Summers and Tim Geithner to run his recovery. Larry Summers becomes his lead economist, and Timothy Geithner becomes Obama's Treasury Secretary. So I asked the question because Barack Obama made the distinction between Wall Street and Main Street, how he was going to rein in Wall Street, empower Main Street, rebuild the economy from the bottom up. None of that stuff happens. And I asked the question, well, who recovers first in Obama's recovery? Was it Wall Street or Main Street? And of course, it was Wall Street that recovered first. Like I was saying, that you can make a case that Main Street still has not recovered from the crash in 2008. But Wall Street has recovered. Wall Street has recovered nicely, and they begin to recover right away because Barack Obama's administration was full of the Wall Street guys that set up the crisis, that profited from the crisis, that built the whole structure. So that's why Wall Street recovered first. But also there was no criminal justice. There was no punishing of the people who set the fire, who created the crisis and the crash, and they were let off. And Obama was responsible for that too. I was explaining in the last podcast that when Barack Obama first came in 2009, that the American people not only elected him on this platform of transformative change, but they also gave him a Congress that could not be obstructed by Republicans. He had a 60-seat majority in the Senate, and Democrats controlled the House of Representatives. As I was saying in the last podcast, that when Barack Obama was sworn in, that evening, Democrats could have done whatever they wanted to do. They could have done immigration. They could have done an immigration bill and legalized the 11 million. They've been saying 11 million, but back then it was 11 million. 11 million undocumented people in the United States, if they wanted to, without a single Republican obstructing them. With 60 seats in the Senate, they could have done immigration. They could have codified Roe versus Wade. They could have codified Roe versus Wade. Without a single Republican obstructing them, without a single Republican filibustering them, they could have passed a bill in the House of Representatives along party lines with just Democrats, passed it, sent it to the Senate, and passed it along party lines without suspending the filibuster, and Obama could have signed it. They could have done that on the night that Obama was sworn in without any Republican obstruction. They had 60 seats in the Senate. They could have done reparations. They could have done reparations on the night that Barack Obama was sworn in. Change you can believe in. They could have done reparations that night without a single Republican blocking them, without a single Republican filibustering them. They could have passed a reparations bill in the House of Representatives. They could have passed a reparations bill that, instead of doing the American Recovery and Reinvestment Act, which they did, that's the very first thing they did, was a $800 billion package to essentially make sure that Wall Street gets their money and helps make Wall Street solvent with that stimulus. They could have done reparations. What else? What else is on the dream list that Democrats say, or that Kamala Harris says that she'll do if she gets in the office? All these things that she's saying that they'll do, they could have done that when Obama was sworn in on the night of January 20th, 2009. They could have done all that stuff. 60-seat majority in the Senate. They controlled the House of Representatives. What did they do? They did the American Recovery Reinvestment Act, $800 billion stimulus. They did the auto bailout, like I just told you. And then they did Obamacare. But even Obamacare is not a populist bill. It's not like they did a public option. I mean, that it in itself was a giveaway to the insurance company with the individual mandate that mandated that that all of these new customers were going to be part of these insurance companies' new customer base. They basically, with the individual mandate in Obamacare, how's that a populist healthcare bill? That was just more customers for the insurance companies is what Obama did. And if you remember how deceptive that was, remember when the Jonathan Gruber tapes were found?
Lack of transparency is a huge political advantage.
Jonathan Gruber, when his tapes were found and exposed how they had lied the whole time and said that the individual mandate was part of the Commerce Clause and that it wasn't a tax. And they continued to say it over and over again. The individual mandate's not a tax; it's part of the Commerce Clause. And Gruber says that that the bill was written in a tortured way, so CBO doesn't score the individual mandate a tax. It's not a tax. It's not a tax. And then they go to the Supreme Court, and John Roberts says it's a tax. It's a tax. But they knew it was a tax the whole time, and to get it passed, they lied to the American people. This is the Obama administration. This is the change that he brought. So that's what they did in their first months in office, first year in office, that they had all that power, the unprecedented power that the American people gave them. No change. They did no change. And so we were explaining in the last podcast how all of this spending and what had gone on with the financial crisis, the bank bailout, the American Recovery Reinvestment Act, that is what sparked the Tea Party movement. And that's when you started seeing this fracture within the Republican Party, this populist movement happening within the Republican Party. And like I was explaining in the last podcast, is that this is the beginning of the fragmented Republican Party, beginning of the Republican Party that Donald Trump eventually comes and takes over. The party was already fragmenting. It was already splitting up. And what were the issues? The issues were, get us out of these wars. We don't want to spend any more money on these wars. Stop all of this spending. We want a balanced budget. We want you to stop all this deficit spending. And these were the issues driving this fracture within the Republican Party. It was a populist movement. Donald Trump eventually comes and takes over, and also immigration and securing the border was part of the Tea Party movement. So this is where you start seeing the Republican Party start to fracture and split up. We also talked about in the last podcast the Occupy movement that had sprung into action in 2011. It was also in response to the financial crises, also response to the bailout and then the American Recovery Reinvestment Act. But if you notice that this doesn't kick off until 2011, September of 2011, Obama sworn in 2009. So this is 2 years after Obama is sworn in that the Democratic or the left-wing populist movement within the Democratic Party starts to form. And this becomes and this is the beginning of what of the movement within the Democratic Party that Bernie Sanders begins to lead in 2015 and 2016 on many of the same issues, the financial crises, the fact that you still have massive income inequality, trade policies. A lot of the stuff that Bernie Sanders and Trump were talking about in 2016 were a lot of the same issues. That's why when they cheated Bernie Sanders in the convention in Philadelphia that year, a lot of Bernie Sanders supporters said they were going to come over and vote for Donald Trump. But this Occupy Wall Street movement that starts in 2011 is the beginning of the progressive movement, the progressive populist movement on the left side that Bernie Sanders begins to lead in 2016. And then the Tea Party, based on focusing on a lot of the same issues, becomes the beginning of the populist movement on the right wing that Trump begins to lead. Now, why does this left-wing populist movement, why does it not begin right away when the financial crisis happens and when the bank bailout happens and when American Recovery Reinvestment Act happens? The Tea Party is active right away. It starts in 2009, right away. But it takes 2 more years, 2011, before the Occupy movement starts to get on the ground. Why did it take 2 years? Because these people were waiting. These people were going to see. They wanted to see if Obama was committed to the change that he'd ran on. Is there going to be people going to jail? Are there going to be people held accountable? Is Obama actually going to implement policies to rebuild the economy from the bottom up and to do something about income inequality? Is Barack Obama really going to what's the word I'm looking for? Going to abandon trickle down economic policies and embrace top up economic policies that he had run on? People were waiting to see what would happen. And then after 2 years, when they didn't see nothing happening, then that's when people started to protest on the left. They're like, look, we're not going to get the change that Obama promised us. So we're going to go to the streets. We're going to start protesting. What does Obama do? Obama uses his DHS, uses his FBI to break up this political movement that had taken place. It's just but the thing that people were so much wanting that we didn't get from Obama, that he campaigned on in 2008 in regards to change, was holding Wall Street accountable and sending people to jail that had looted our country, who had set up the crash and who had taken advantage of people on Wall Street who had taken advantage of the people on Main Street. Just want to listen to a little bit of this clip. What this guy says is what I'm trying to say.
What I think people are most upset about is that nobody went to jail. You know, if people had gone to jail, they wouldn't be quite so upset about the financial crisis.
So the thing that people are most upset about is in regards to the financial crisis is that people didn't go to jail, that nobody went to jail. Nobody was prosecuted. Nobody was held accountable. And that's what really stung people. That's what the people in the Tea Party on the right, the people in the Occupy movement on the left, the thing that angered us the most as Americans after that crisis is that nobody was held accountable. Nobody went to jail. I want to play this clip again. This is from one of the last scenes of the movie The Big Short. I want you to listen to this.
Mark, you there? Mark.
Paulson and Bernanke just left the White House. There's going to be a bailout.
Well, they had to. Right? I mean, paper markets would
They knew.
Cash would stop coming out of ATMs. They had to backstop this.
They knew the taxpayers would bail them out. They weren't being stupid. They just didn't care.
Yeah, because they're fucking crooks. But
at least we're going to see some of them go to jail.
At least we're going to see some of them go to jail. Nobody goes to jail. Nobody goes to jail. Nobody goes to jail. Why doesn't anybody go to jail? Well, Obama, even though he had all the Wall Street people in his administration to protect Wall Street, to advise him, to make sure that nobody would go to jail, that nobody would be held accountable, and that he implemented economic policies that were trickle-down policies that bailed out Wall Street first, so Wall Street could recover first, and all of that stuff. And he had all those people in his administration that were advising him. Congress, when Obama comes in, Congress was not going to let this go. And Congress was putting a lot of pressure on Obama to live up, particularly Democrats and those in his party were putting a lot of pressure on him after he was sworn in to actually live up to this commitment to hold people accountable, like you said, to go after Wall Street, to prosecute people on boards, people that are executives in these banks who acted irresponsibly and did so fraudulently that people in Congress, Democrats in Congress, were putting a lot of pressure on Obama to live up to that commitment to hold these people accountable. So I'm going to tell you now what Obama did, but let's start with this clip, and it explains what Obama did. We're going to talk about how it worked out.
Hello, everybody.
To help prosecute those who were to blame, President Obama signed a new bill.
4 months ago today, we took office amidst unprecedented economic turmoil.
It was designed to amend America's fraud statutes,
Signed the Fraud Enforcement and Recovery Act
to make prosecution easier, and also to increase funding for the SEC, the FBI, and the Department of Justice.
Senator Ted Kaufman is a Democrat from Delaware, the man who now holds the seat vacated by Vice President Joe Biden.
So Senator Kaufman, after Obama chooses Joe Biden, who was the senator of Delaware, to be his vice president, that left an opening in Delaware, and the governor appointed Kaufman. And Tom Kaufman became the point person for going after Wall Street. It was his mission. He was the hound dog.
Senator Ted Kaufman was a co-sponsor of the bill. He was an unusual senator.
When this particular term is up, what are you going to do?
Oh, I'm going to leave. I would never run for office.
Appointed to replace Senator Joe Biden, he had taken no campaign money and was beholden to no lobbyists.
I want to see people who committed such fraud and the havoc it's caused to this country. Frankly, I want to see them go to jail. Who can invest.
In early 2009, Kaufman joined his colleagues on the Senate Judiciary Committee to discuss bolstering the FBI and Justice Department's financial crimes units.
I'm going to ask some questions to each of you.
My feeling and Senator Leahy's feeling is that, you know, if you're going to stop crime, the best way is to punish crime, and the best way to do that is put people in jail.
Senator Kaufman.
Senators were surprised by how unprepared the government was to investigate Wall Street.
The deputy director of the FBI gave incredible testimony.
After 9/11, we moved almost 2,000 criminal investigative resources over to national security matters.
Listen to that. Listen to that. After 9/11, George Bush moved 10,000 FBI agents over from monitoring Wall Street into monitoring national security. So while George Bush is creating the housing bubble, telling in 2002, just months after 9/11, that he's creating the housing bubble, telling all of these lenders to lower their standards. We need to get millions of minority home buyers into these homes. At the same time, George Bush is doing that. He is moving these FBI agents who monitor Wall Street fraud from their jobs monitoring Wall Street fraud into national security.
Crime, and the best way to do that is put people in jail.
Senator Kaufman.
Senators were surprised by how unprepared the government was to investigate Wall Street.
The deputy director of the FBI gave incredible testimony.
After 9/11, we moved almost 2,000 criminal
2,000. I thought he said
resources over
10,000.
to national security matters.
He said what happened was the government had transferred a great deal of the FBI agents over to anti-terrorism, but they didn't replace them. So we're basically down to 200 FBI agents.
We have about 240 agents.
And what he said was essentially during the savings and loan crisis, there were 1,000 FBI agents working on fraud.
Charles Keating, millionaire banker.
After the S&L crisis of the 80s, the government responded forcefully. Back then, Justice convicted over 1,000 bankers, a third of them top executives.
It's crazy that George Bush moved all these FBI agents away from looking at the bubble as he's creating the bubble, man. That is wow.
You've introduced a bill that you believe will...
In the wake of the financial crisis of 2008,
Say more about actually what...
Kaufman wanted the government to respond as it had in the past.
We should find them, and if they're guilty of a crime, they should go to jail.
Why should people hearing you have any confidence that there will be serious investigations and serious penalties to some of the biggest and most powerful people in corporate America?
Trust me, it's going to happen.
It didn't happen.
Kaufman became frontman for the new fraud enforcement bill.
Ted began giving speeches and writing op-eds about how important it was. You know, we came up with this sort of slogan that, you know, when people rob a bank, they know they're going to go to jail.
If somebody robs a store, they get caught, they go to jail. If somebody robs hundreds of millions of dollars, they should go to jail.
When bankers rob people, they should know they're going to go to jail.
Commit a big crime, go to jail for big time. These people should go to jail. Lots of people on Wall Street said, what are you doing? You're trying to destroy the banks. There's no crime up here. We didn't commit any crimes. There's no reason to come up here and start talking about crimes. Plus, we're very, very fragile. And, you know, something could happen.
I love that.
You start talking about crime, which was just totally, completely.
You can't investigate us, so you're going to destroy the economy, destroy the entire economy if you investigate us and start talking about crime. And the name of this documentary is called The Untouchables, because we're untouchable here on Wall Street. You can't come looking in to what we're doing, or you're going to destroy the economy. If what they told Kaufman. Actually, these people are not untouchable, but the Obama administration refused to touch them. He refused to touch them. And when I come back on Friday, we're going to get back into this. I'm going to tell you how the Obama administration obstructed Congress. And after Congress started to look into this stuff and refer these people to the Justice Department, Eric Holder, Obama's bro at the Justice Department, did nothing. Nobody went to jail. Nobody went to jail. All right, folks, I'll see you guys on Friday. Have a great week.